Hi, I'm Hal Mummy, University of Kentucky head football coach. Since 1986, our offense has been one of the best offenses in whatever league we happen to play at, and we've done this at 4 different levels of competition, starting in high school in Texas, 2 small colleges, and now in the SEC. Our offensive ideas and practice plans are something I think can help any school, and we have found that through the years the attention to detail and the overall general way of practice that we use now at the University of Kentucky has been one that's brought us great success. Our offensive coordinator Mike Leach has put together this video along with the help of our offensive staff and our whole support staff here at the University of Kentucky, and I do hope it helps you very much.
My name is Mike Leach. I'm the offensive coordinator here at the University of Kentucky. Today we're going to talk about some of the drills and techniques we use to teach our passing game. We'll emphasize the play of the quarterback, the wide receivers, the running backs, and the offensive linemen. Our practices here at Kentucky last an hour and 45 minutes, so it's important to us that we maximize our practice time. We believe that these drills allow us to get high repetitions and get as much taught in a multifaceted passing game as possible. The first drill that we're going to talk about today is the settle up and noose drill. This is the first drill that we run each practice all season long. The first couple shots that I'm going to show you after my introduction is a wide shot showing the entire drill and how it works. Then after that, we're going to show the individual positions and the details that we stress with regard to this drill. The players involved in this drill are the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, the running backs, the tight ends, and the offensive centers. We don't have a stretch period here at Kentucky, and so instead we do this drill where the tempo is 1/4 speed. And this allows us to get the muscles warmed up at a low tempo, but also allows us to stress a great deal of detail since we're only going 1/4 speed. This shows the drill settle up and noose in its entirety. After following these shots, we're going to show the drill broken up into components of what we're doing with each position. As you can see, the receivers are going to settle up between these 2 dummies, catch the ball in the hands, turn and go straight up field. There's a lot of attention to detail here since we're only going 1/4 speed. In the course of our practice, we'll set up several stations of these dummies to accommodate all of our quarterbacks and our wide receivers. The quarterback, just like the receivers, is dropping back approximately 1/4 speed and throwing the ball in softly as he warms up his arm. We want him to put it right in the hands on the proper number as the receiver turns and goes straight up field. Here we're working on the shotgun snap. We work on shotgun snap as well as under center. Another point of emphasis in this drill is the quarterback-center exchange. Here we have Jason in a good stance, Tim in a good stance. Tim's going to put pressure so that Jason knows where to deliver the football. As you can see, Tim is relatively back so that he can receive the ball, he can see downfield, and then he can immediately get the ball up in a throwing position. Tim's stance, he has his feet narrow so that he can get a big first step, back straight, head up, ready to go. Now we're going to go step by step on the exchange. All right, go ahead, 1 step at a time. Jason will snap the ball. Tim receives the ball, puts the ball high, and gets a big first step. And then Tim works down the line. This line here is important to us to make sure that the quarterback drops straight when he goes back. Good. Here's Tim taking a snap under center. Tim takes the ball, gets a big first step, which we believe is very important to begin a drop. Finishes his drop, settles back up into the pocket. Here's a shot of a slow motion snap under center. The quarterback puts pressure on the seat of the center, and the center puts the ball right where he feels the pressure. Quarterback drops on down the line. For the shotgun snap, we set the quarterback 5 yards from the football. The center's going to naturally push the ball through his legs without snapping his wrist, following through at the top of his hip. Good. Another good snap by the center. The quarterback drops back a couple steps and then once again steps back up into the pocket. Here's a slow motion shot of a shotgun snap. As you can see, the center finishes well with his hand, follows through all the way to his seat. Okay, when Tim completes his drop, as you can see, his shoulder slightly open to the left so that he can see that side of the field and easily throw that direction, and already being able to see this side of the field where he's facing. Here's another example of a snap and a drop. We're stressing the finite details of quarterback play here. Here's a good example of the quarterback walking through his drops step by step to show the steps at a low tempo. As you can see, he has the ball high throughout, and at the end he steps back up into the pocket. We like the ball up by the ear so it's always ready to be delivered. Also, we like his back elbow up as he begins to release the ball. There the back elbow goes up, and that's a pretty good release. The back elbow goes up, the ball's released in a circular motion. As Tim comes over the top with the ball, we want his thumb to go down and the ball should be touched by his first finger last. Here's a pretty good shot dropping down the line. The elbow goes up, ball comes back. The thumb will turn down and it'll come off his first finger. We want the receivers to begin this drill in a perfect stance. And what we're looking for with a perfect stance, we want him to play as low as he comfortably can, to have power angles with the legs. We want 90% of the weight on the front foot so that as he comes off, he can just take a rolling start without any false step. Take a rolling start there, Jimmy. Once the receiver comes out of his stance, we want him to settle up between these dummies. We want him to settle closer to one dummy than the other with his hands in a good noose position, which is why we call this drill the settle up and noose drill. We consider this a noose here with the forefingers and the thumbs touching, whereas this would not be a noose where they're apart here. Since we're doing this drill only 1/4 speed, we're going to really stress perfection. We want him to catch every ball in the hands, and as he catches the ball, he'll tuck it and turn and go straight up field. The quarterback, as he drops down the line, should deliver this ball to the number that's away from the dummy. In this case, he'd deliver the ball to the number 1. Other things to note is that Lance has a little bend in his arm, so if the ball goes forward off his hands, he can extend his hands to go get them. If they come back off his hands, then he can adjust back to the ball, rather than being locked out like this where he can't adjust forward, or too close here where he gets jammed. He wants to, as it's out here, he wants to be able to see detail on the ball as it comes in. The ball will be delivered on this number. He'll tuck it, he'll turn and go straight up field. Our thoughts on delivering the ball on this number here is because we want to throw the ball away from coverage. We think of these dummies as coverage people. And then in the course of the game, we want the ball to be caught and to turn away from the nearest coverage man and to go immediately upfield. It's crucial that he take an immediate step upfield without any wasted motion so that he explodes on the defensive back upfield, hopefully causing the DB to hesitate, and we get extra yards after the catch. The slow tempo of this drill allows us to warm up our muscles doing football skills. Here's a good example of Jimmy Robinson. Now here's Lance Mickelson. He settles closer to one dummy than the other. Quarterback delivers the ball on the number 1, and he turns and goes straight upfield. Good stance. Catches the ball in his hands, goes straight upfield. The other thing the tempo allows us to do is really stress detail and technique. We now have a couple of game clips that illustrate some of the things that we're trying to teach in the settle up and noose drill. Here's an example of catching it in the hands, turning and going straight upfield and getting yards after the catch. next drill that we run is called pat and go. That's the drill we run immediately after the noose drill. As we said before, the noose drill is 1/4 speed tempo. This drill will begin half speed tempo. The receivers will be aligned out by the numbers. The quarterback will pat the ball, take one step, and put it into their hands softly, kind of like on a hot read. The receiver will then take the ball and up the field and hand it to another line of quarterbacks and receivers who are going the opposite direction, like in a circle. The next aspect of that drill, as our legs get loose, as the quarterback's arms get loose going half speed, we'll extend it to 3/4 to full speed. At this point, the quarterbacks take a 3-step drop, and the receivers run upfield hard, catching the ball over their outside shoulder. As they run their route, they run up the numbers, looking inside to the quarterback, snapping the eyes, catching the ball over their outside shoulder. It's the receiver's job to snap the eyes and adjust to the ball. It's the quarterback's job to put air under the ball and give the receiver room and time to adjust to it. As the receivers start this route, we'll have a coach line up over the top of them representing a defensive back. At this point, as he comes out of his stance, the receiver will do a thing that we call foot fire. If I'm going to release this direction, what I'll do is, as I come up onto the DB, I'll pump my arms and my feet, giving the illusion that I'm going that direction. As the DB shifts his weight, then I'll go upfield and run my route. The third phase of this particular drill we call arc routes. And what we do with the arc route is the receiver comes in more as an inside receiver position, runs a swing route, and the quarterback puts the ball on them as they're in stride. To begin with, we have some wide shots of the pat and go drill. The quarterback will take a 1-step drop, deliver it softly into the hands of the receiver, just like a hot read. He comes off the line, tucks it, takes it up the field, and he's going to hand it to the quarterback in the opposite line where they do the same process again. Some close shots here. Quarterback's arms continuing to loosen up, throwing a little harder here, but still not going all out. Some game clips here illustrating the type of throw that we just did with the 1-step of pat and go. Quick throw delivered softly. This shot here shows the 3-step phase of pat and go. The quarterback's arms have begun to get loosened up, so they're going to put air under the ball and put it over the outside shoulder of the wide receiver. The wide receivers are now running 3/4 to full speed, and they should snap their eyes and catch the ball over their outside shoulder. As you can see, there's a coach over the wide receiver so that he can work on his foot fire. Here's a close shot. Pretty good job catching the ball over his outside shoulder. Good ball placement by the quarterback. Another example here. At this point in the drill, the quarterback's arm should be fully loosened up and the receiver's legs should be loosened up, and we should be going full speed, ready to continue with practice. There's a good example of a foot fire. You can see he fires his feet, the coach shifts his weight, and then we release upfield. Mike Fanoga, our tight ends coach, is playing DB here. He does a great job with our tight ends. The receiver foot fires, gets Fanoga to shift inside, and then catches the ball over his outside shoulder. Here's a game shot. The ball released up over the outside shoulder. The same catch we worked on in pat and go. Here's another shot. This is the arc route portion of pat and go, where we're running a swing route with the receivers, and the quarterbacks are putting it on them quickly so that their momentum's going forward as they catch the ball. This is kind of a hot play that we run, and this is where we get repetitions on this type of a throw and catch. Good catch, goes straight upfield. Here's some game shots of that. Not always a big gain, but kind of an equalizer, forcing the defense to cover up all the receivers. The next drill that we're going to run is called routes on air. Behind me you see a number of dummies set up, and they're set up in a configuration of cover 2 zone. Now, depending on what team you're facing or what defense you're going to face on a particular week or whatever you want to work on, you can set up cover 4 zone, cover 3 zone, or any zone type of defense that you might face. The dummies we have here are fairly high quality dummies. In various other places that I've been, we didn't necessarily have this luxury. Other things that you can use in lieu of these dummies are overturned plastic trash cans, scout team players in scrimmage vests standing to assume the position of the dummies, also any type of dummy with the bottom weighted with weight so that they'll stand up in an upright position to represent the defensive players. We teach our pass routes against zone coverage in this drill. The receiver, since it's zone, as they run their route, will settle into the seams of the zone, expecting the ball, catch the ball, turn, go straight upfield, and score every time. We like this drill because it gives us a high number of repetitions and also works on the quarterback reads. In addition to the receivers running their various routes, we'll have 5 quarterbacks set up here who will each drop back and each throw a ball to a different receiver. In doing this, the quarterbacks will work on their reads. For example, if you have the first read, as you take your drop, hit your last step, your ball should be released. Whereas if you have the 5th read, you should go back, hit your last step, your eyes should be on the first receiver, then they should go to the 2nd receiver, then the 3rd receiver, the 4th receiver, and as a result, the quarterback with the 5th read, his ball should be released last. As far as a coach goes, if the balls are released in order, then you know that your quarterbacks have gone through their proper reads. If a ball's thrown out of order, then you know that someone did not go through their proper reads. In this drill, a receiver should never settle behind a dummy. As I'm running my route across the field, I should never settle behind this dummy. Instead, I should settle into the seams of the zone, prepared to catch the ball, tuck it, turn and go straight upfield and score. Likewise, as the quarterbacks throw the ball, they should never throw the ball to over the top of a dummy. They should only throw to a receiver who's settled in between the dummies into the seam of the zone. Now we have 5 quarterbacks throwing, providing we have 5 quarterbacks. If we don't have all 5 quarterbacks, then we'll have coaches fill in to throw the other balls. So if you have 3 quarterbacks, then we'll put in 2 coaches to throw those extra 2 routes. We run each play in this drill 5 times. The reason we run each play 5 times is because after each play, we're going to rotate our quarterbacks. And we want each quarterback to throw to each route of the play. So for example, if I have the first read and I hit my last step, I release the ball, the next repetition I'll move and I'll be the man that's got the 2nd read, then the 3rd read, and then the 4th read, and then the 5th read. And at that point, I've thrown to all 5 receivers that are involved in this play. And then we go to a new play with a new different set of pass routes. Once again, coaches are out here emphasizing that receivers run the proper route, catch the ball, tuck it, turn and go straight upfield. Quarterback coaches are looking at the quarterback's eyes to make sure that they're taking good drops. As they take their drop, they look at the first read in the play, the 2nd read in the play, and then the 5th read in the play. Even if I have the first read in a particular play, I'll drop back, I'll hit my last step, release the ball because I have the first read, but then my eyes should go to the 2nd read, the 3rd read, the 4th read, the 5th read, so that I'm practicing what needs to be done in the course of reading a pass play. Say, for example, I have the 5th read. I'll drop back to pass. When I hit my last step, my eyes are on the first read, then they go to the 2nd read, go to the 3rd read, go to the 4th read, and then I release the ball to the 5th read. As a result, if I have the first read, that ball should be released first. 5th read should be released last. This is a good shot of how we set up routes on air. As you can see, there's 5 quarterbacks dropping back, all 5 receivers running the routes of the play. Once they catch the ball, they turn and go straight upfield and score. The quarterbacks, after they throw the first play, will rotate so that they're throwing to a different receiver each time. As you can see, the quarterbacks are kind of side by side, playing relatively tight, which isn't all bad either because quarterbacks have to throw from relatively tight quarters. The other thing is they drop back as I emphasized in the introduction, they should be going through their reads. Here's a pretty good shot. You see the receivers settle in the zones and then all turn upfield and score. Behind the receivers are the other receivers at the various positions waiting for their turn to go. We get rapid repetitions, and every receiver catches a ball, every quarterback throws a ball. Here you can see the quarterbacks throwing the balls at different times depending on which read they have, whether they have the first read, second read, third read, fourth read, or fifth read. There's a receiver catching the ball, settled up in the zone. He goes upfield. This next shot, it's going to show the receiver settle, kind of a tight shot. He settles, catches it, and we get high repetitions. We can get through all our passing game in about 15 minutes with this drill. Here we have an example of a receiver settling in the zone. You can see him settle in the zone. He receives the ball, turns and goes upfield. Tim's getting ready to take the snap. He's got the first read, so the ball should be released as soon as he hits his last step. Matt has the fifth read, so he'll go through all his reads before he releases the ball. Here's a shot of our receiver doing a good job settling in the zone, turning and going straight upfield. Here's a quarterback who hits his first read. Here's an example of a fifth read. Goes through his reads, hits the fifth receiver. We feel like that footwork is very important for quarterback play. We're going to start out with 2 drills with Tim Couch demonstrating. He's going to do the step over drill forward, the step over drill laterally, and then he's going to do the shuffle drill. All of this, we believe, develops great footwork in our quarterbacks.
This is the step over drill forward. Tim's holding the ball nice and high up by his ear in a ready to throw position while working his feet forward and back. This is a great conditioning drill for quarterbacks as well as working on the fundamentals of being ready to throw the ball. Here he's stepping laterally, right to left, once again in a good throwing position. Eyes downfield. Chris Hatcher is our quarterback coach, and he does a fine job coaching Tim Couch.
Now we're going to do the shuffle drill. What the shuffle drill is Tim will drop back, he'll take a 5-step drop, he'll hitch up in the pocket, and then me, the coach, I'll give him a direction, right, left, forward, back, working his feet, and then at the end of the drill, when I put my hand down, he'll release the ball to a receiver. Go hit! Go hit! Hitch up.
Here's some good footwork by Tim Couch in the pocket. What good footwork will do for you is turn what could be a bad play into a really strong play. We get several touchdowns every year just out of our quarterback having good footwork and keeping the ball up in the air ready to throw. Here we hit just a little swing pass and he takes it in for a touchdown for us.
Tim's now going to illustrate the various drops that we do. The 3-step, the 5-step, the 7-step. These will all be done down the line. As you can see, Tim has pretty good footwork, and we believe that our footwork drills have done a lot to develop this. And then once again, he has the line down there by his feet as a reference point to make sure he has proper foot placement.
In all of our drops, we want him to get a big first step and go straight back. Here's a pretty good shot of Tim doing the 3-step drop. Here's the 5-step. Carry it back, hitch up into the pocket after you hit the last step if you don't release the ball. Tim does a good job of all of that. Here's the 7-step drop. which is designed to allow him to hitch up in the pocket even further, especially if he anticipates a deep downfield throw.
Sometimes when the quarterback drops back, it's important for him to release the ball quickly to a hot receiver. The next drill that we're going to run is called the hot drill or get big drill. What Tim's going to do is he's going to drop back. As he's mid-step in his drop, I'm going to clap my hands, simulating that a defender's there right now, and he has to get big in the pocket and release the ball to an awaiting receiver. Go hit. Go hit.
In these two plays that we have here, Tim was able to get rid of the ball quickly, and both of them were big plays for us and resulted in touchdowns.
Another drill we do is called the circle drill. What this drill is designed to do is to allow the quarterback to work on getting his number square to the line of scrimmage as he has to release the ball on the move. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the quarterback with a receiver or possibly another quarterback. They're going to be about 10 yards apart, and they're going to run a circle to the right, releasing the ball to each other at various intervals, and then turn and run the circle to the left, releasing the ball at various intervals. Emphasis on keeping the ball high and the number square to the direction where they're throwing the ball.
In this drill, we want the quarterback to have great pass and release fundamentals and to continue to deliver the ball accurately. He needs to get his shoulders around and step into the throw. As you can see, Tim's getting his shoulders around as he releases the ball. We're working it to the right side first, and then he's going to reverse directions and work it to the left. Here's a pretty good shot of Tim's feet. Once again, ball high in everything that he does in this drill. Again, we expect for drills like this to pay off for us and result in touchdowns and potential emergency situation, and then just develop good footwork in our quarterbacks. Here's some game clips. He drops back, has to move his feet, gets the shoulders around, throws a good pass for a touchdown.
This next drill is called the scramble drill. What the scramble drill is designed to do is to simulate a quarterback who's dropped back in the pocket, hitched up, and now has a rusher flushing him out of the pocket. As he is flushed out of the pocket, he steps forward underneath the rusher, dips his outside shoulder, bubbles back behind the line of scrimmage to get his numbers and his body in a good position to throw to a waiting receiver who's run in front of his hands to the sideline.
Here we have Tim Couch dropping back to pass. Jimmy Haley, the tight end, is simulating a defensive end. Couch scrambles to the outside and throws to Jimmy Robinson, a wide receiver. Besides the quarterbacks working on scrambling, it's also a good opportunity to work with wide receivers on the toe step drill as they're about to go out of bounds catching the ball. We rehearse this type of movement and this type of situation in practice in hopes that we'll be able to get ourselves out of bad situations and get big plays in the game. Work at both right and left side. Here's a game example against Tennessee. Tim dips under the defensive end, gets rid of the ball, results in a completion. Again, a good job getting himself out of trouble and scoring a touchdown.
This next drill we're going to work on is called the bucket drill. The reason we call it the bucket drill is because we use a plastic trash bucket that any athletic department has, and the quarterbacks drop back at various distances. Sometimes, you know, we're 5 yards away, sometimes 10, sometimes 20, and they're going to throw a ball where they put air under the ball, and they want the ball to make it into the bucket. Now, not all the balls always make it into the bucket, but that type of throw with air under it and the type that would point the end of the ball downward is the type of throw that we need on our fade routes and our vertical routes, and this is a good way to practice it.
Here the quarterback's doing a good job working the drill, getting air under the ball, the type of ball that needs to be thrown on a fade route. This ball here goes in the bucket. whether it goes in the bucket or not, if they get good air under it and come close to the point they're aiming at, we have pretty good throws that we can use in the course of a game and make great catches.
How about that?
Here's a close-up of the ball so you can see the flight of the ball as it goes in the bucket with the nose of the ball down. Here's some good examples in the game of the type of ball that we want thrown that we try to develop in the course of the bucket drill.
Okay, now we're going to work on receiver drills. These drills are designed to work on footwork and the catches and the situations that a receiver will face in the course of a ball game.
These two drills are our cone drills. The first one is a 45-degree angle cone drill, and we set the cones out in this configuration so that they work on 45-degree angle cuts. It's important that the wide receivers stick their toe in the ground as they cut, and then they want to throw the opposite elbow. They need to keep their numbers down over their feet so that they can make good sharp cuts. Now the cones are set in a 90-degree angle configuration, once again doing the same thing but cutting at a different angle. Toe in the ground, throws his elbow, making good cuts, keeping the numbers over his feet. We can see it a little better here up close. Pretty good cuts to allow us to run sharp pass routes. Here's some examples of good cuts on the pass route. The defender falls down, and we'd like to think it was because of some of the good cuts that he made. Good cut there as he stuck his route and caught the ball. We call this drill the ball drill. The quarterback will yell out ball, and when the receiver hears ball, he'll turn around, try to find the ball in midair, and make a good catch. Here's some examples coming up of us turning to the left side. One thing the receiver wants to do is snap his head quickly, find the ball, adjust his hands, and make the catch. There will be situations in the course of a game where he has to find a ball in the air that he doesn't necessarily get thrown. Here's a good example here. The man in motion comes around, the ball's thrown in the air, and he finds it and makes the catch. Once again, from a tight shot, you'll see the receiver, as the ball's already in the air at this point, find it, come back for it, make a good catch. This drill here we call the distraction drill. We have a player get in the middle to do everything he can to distract the receiver from catching the ball. The middleman can do everything but touch the ball. We don't allow him to touch the ball, but he can do anything that he can to disrupt the vision of the receiver. We'll work the receivers coming both right side and left side. The hands of the defender oftentimes will come up in front of the receiver's face, but we still want to have the ability to make the catch. Here's some game footage, and that's a great job by Lance Mickelson pulling in the ball under all kinds of distraction. Another example here. This drill is called high and hard drill. What we have the quarterback do is throw a high, an outside, high and hard type of ball that's catchable but not a real good ball, and have the receivers work on adjusting to a tough situation so that when they face it in the ball game that they're able to adjust and still make a great catch. We'll work at both right side and left side. High and hard balls to the right side, high and hard balls to the left side. Here's some game footage, great catch there, high and hard, touchdown. Another example of high and hard here that resulted in a touchdown. Like high and hard, we now work on balls that are thrown low and behind. Poorly thrown but catchable balls, working on making great catches so that when we face this situation in a game that we're able to adjust to it and still make good plays. Working at both right side and left side once again. The net on the goalpost comes in handy as far as stopping stray balls. Here's some game footage, low and behind, good catch. Another low and behind throw here. And this one results in a touchdown. Another drill we run is the comeback drill. On the comeback drill, we want to stick the toe in the ground, snap the head and the body around, catch the ball, and turn and go straight upfield. What we're really looking for here is planting the toe in the ground and the explosion of getting straight upfield, and then splitting the defenders. The two men standing there represent defenders, and we want to accelerate and explode through them, simulating defenders. Good example of the footwork: put the toe in the ground, turn and go straight upfield. Real emphasis on going straight upfield. Here's a good example: catches the ball, goes straight upfield, and splits several defenders in this case. Here's another example, and this resulted in us beating Alabama in overtime.
When we release at the line of scrimmage and press coverage, we want to attack half of a man. So if I'm going to release this way, I want to attack this side of the man rather than try to take on his whole body. Of course, the other thing would be if I'm releasing this way, I'd attack this side of his body. The way we're going to attack this man and execute our release is: first, we're going to foot fire. Second, we're going to clear his hands. Third, we're going to establish a move. And when we do a move, we want our foot to follow our hand, and then we want to get back over the top of the man that we're trying to gain a release on.
Okay, here we've got two receivers working on the foot fire drill. He foot fires going one direction, looses the defender, and then attacks going upfield, working on getting back over the top. Here's a one-on-one drill where he does a pretty good foot fire preceding that swim move. Another foot fire, leans on the defender, makes a good catch.
Okay, first Jimmy's going to clear his hands, and then he's going to do a rip arm and get back over the top of him.
Here Jimmy clears his arms and then gets back over the top of him. Another example of a rip arm. Here's another rip arm, good release. Did such a good job clearing his hands, didn't really have to rip as much as he sometimes does. Here's the swim move. Two good shots of the swim move during one-on-one period. Brings his arm over the top, clears him, catches it.
A good way to practice releases is to do it on a line, so that once the player releases, he can tell when he gets back over the top. So what we'll have him do is we'll have him foot fire, clear the hands, then do either the rip arm, which is underneath the hands, or the swim, which is over the top of the arms, and then get back over the top, using the line as a landmark of where he wants to get back over the top. It's crucial to get back over the top of a defender, so you force him to take the extra steps required for him to turn, thereby giving you more of a lead and a head start on him as far as running upfield on your route.
As soon as he gets even with the defender, get back over the top. Here's two good examples of where we get over the top of the defenders and make catches. Back over the top, adjusting to the ball. Here's some game footage as far as great releases. Good release, find that little crease, catch the ball.
Now we're going to talk about route running. The following are some skills and techniques that we use to enhance our pass routes. All pass routes need to start with a great stance and a great release, which we've already talked about. These are some of the fine points as we're running the route itself.
This is an example of playing low and keeping the shoulders down. In order to do this, you have to keep the numbers over the feet, and it'll allow you to cut more sharply. And these are pretty good examples of that. One of the very important things in route running is having low numbers and being able to make quick, sharp cuts. Here's a game example of keeping the numbers over the feet and coming straight back, a nice sharp cut. Another important route running skill is keeping the DB's hands off of you. As the DB tries to put his hands on you throughout the route, knock his hands down to give yourself space to catch the ball. Another thing is anytime the DB has his hands on you, he can feel where you're at. Here's slow motion now, knocking the hands down, continuing to knock the hands down as many times as you have to always keep the defender's hands off. Here's a game shot. The receiver at the bottom, knocking the hands down, giving himself room to make a big catch. Here he had to knock two defenders' hands down several times in order to make this catch. This skill here is lean on and maximize space. This is where a defender is on your hip, trying to push you to the sideline. Need to lean with the body, drive the defender to the inside, giving yourself some space to the outside to adjust to the ball. Game footage of lean on and maximize. Here he leans on the defender and works outside. This next skill we're working on going to where you saw the defender last. Anytime a receiver beats the defender at the line of scrimmage, he ought to go to where he saw the defender last, because the defender will overcompensate and go to where he got beat by the receiver. As a route's being run, once you get the defender to turn, if you touch his arm while his back's turned to the opposite side of where you're going, sometimes he'll over-adjust to that side. Here's a game example of this. And the tight shot of the same example. Another route running technique is head and body lean. A lot of times you can influence the defender opposite of where you're going by using a good head lean and body lean. Even as you're just going straight upfield, just lean a little bit and he may feather away from the area you want to catch the ball in. Good game example there. Here's another. Good body lean. Big catch.
That's it.
Sticking the route's important. As you stem the route, as you get to where you're going to make your cut, stick the toe into the ground. And that'll facilitate a sharp cut, and it'll also force the defensive back to freeze in case you're going to come to the direction where you stick the toe in the ground. Here we do a good job as far as sticking the toe in the ground, and it results in a big play for us. It's important to have the shoulders over the feet like we talked about earlier in order to get a good stick. Here we're working on running with our hands down. A lot of times when a receiver's catching a ball, he's going to want to raise his hands up prematurely rather than run through the ball, like in this example right here. The better way to do it is to not put your hands up until the last instant, as we see here. Here's some game footage. Here the receiver does a good job keeping his hands down until right when the ball gets there. This also helps you to not telegraph to the defender that the ball's coming, plus get that extra step or two in running through the ball. Here we're working on coming back to the ball and catching it at the highest point. You want to catch the ball as soon as you possibly can so that it's not in the air any longer than it has to be. Also catch it at the highest point to minimize the chance of a defensive player getting the ball. Good job coming back to the ball and going up for it there. Here's another case where the receiver comes back to the ball, cutting off those two defenders as far as them ever having an opportunity to catch the ball. And it turns into a good play.
We're going to cover some of the running back routes that we run. The routes that we're going to cover are the shoot route, the swing route, the option route, and the angle route. If you throw the ball as often as we do here at Kentucky, it's important to be able to throw to the backs. These are some of the routes that we use to make our passing game more effective.
The shoot route is a sharp, straight route that we want to run toward the numbers. and if the receiver were to go out of bounds, he'd be 0 to 3 yards deep off the line of scrimmage. Here's a swing route, and he stays behind the line of scrimmage but gets his numbers going forward, ready to run upfield as he catches the ball. Here's some game footage of a shoot route. Shoots and swings are very similar, but once again, throwing to our backs is a big part of our offense. There's a swing route. Here's an option route. The running back goes, turns around, and just adjusts away from coverage, really. He's just looking for the dead area where the defender's not and making a play. And here's 3 examples of option routes. Tony Franklin, our running backs coach, does a great job working with our running backs, both as rushers and pass catchers. Here's game footage of an option route. Here's another option route right here where the running back finds the dead area right there over the middle, adjusts away from coverage, and makes a good play. This is the angle route. The running back kind of sells shoot or sells swing and then adjusts back underneath the defender. Once he gets the defender to over pursue outside, he finds the dead area in the middle. And this one turns into a big play for us in a game situation. Here's another up close shot. Running back finding the middle and turning it into something positive.
Now we're going to cover offensive line play. To begin with, we have Jason Watts and Mike Webster. They're going to demonstrate stance and alignment. Jason's the starting center for us, and Mike Webster's the starting guard. And we're going to talk about splits, stance, and alignment. Okay, here Jason's in our center stance. Couple key things is he's got power angles in his ankles, in his legs. This hand here, his right arm is up and ready to fire out into the defender as we begin to pass protect him, or as he comes forward on run blocking. Our right guard here, once again, good power angles, flat back, head up, not a lot of weight on his hand. He can move his hand. Move your hand there, Mike. See, he can move it at any point. His weight's over his feet. Now they're gonna, Jason's gonna snap the ball and they'll come off a lot like they would on run blocking. Okay, Mike illustrates our 2-point stance. His back straight, his head's up, his rear end's down, power angles in the, his upper body, his knee, and his ankle. Ready to give up ground in a pass protection mode or to come forward and run blocking. Now they'll demonstrate some pass sets out of this stance. These are some pretty good examples of pass sets. As you can see, the butts are down, the head's back, and the hands are up, ready to engage in combat with a defensive lineman. The footwork in sets is very important, and it has to be something that's worked on constantly in order to get it smooth. Here's a good rear view of it. You want to be smooth, and you want to have the body resting over the balls of the feet, ready for action. Here's some game shots of some pretty good pass protection. Good sets, and as you can see, Tim's got a lot of time to throw. Here's another pretty good example of pass protection. Pretty good job setting on the defensive lineman. Good things will happen if you can do that consistently. Okay, a drill that we do with our offensive linemen is we'll put them on a stripe and have them pass protect each other down the stripe. Once again, we're looking for head back, hands up, get depth, stay square, and they work their full set. And we'll leave them working pass protection for several seconds, longer than it would be in a game, to continue to work on the skill.
We try to work this full speed, and we try to work several sets of it each day in order to perfect the skill.
Here we have a pretty good shot of their set. Mike's gotten depth. His head's back, his hands are up, and his body's square with the defensive lineman coming into him. And this is the position that we need to have when we engage in pass protection. And the longer we can maintain this position, the better we're going to be at protecting the passer.
Okay, here's a pretty good set. They're working the feet back and forth and pushing upfield. This type of a drill, we want to be full speed with the feet, but not necessarily full contact, so that we can give the offensive lineman good work, but not just worrying about collisions and people getting injured. We really want to work the feet. And here's a pretty good shot of Mike working the feet, stepping and replacing right and left, mirroring the defender, keeping between the defender and the quarterback. Hands up right away, head back, hips down, stepping and replacing with the feet. Here goes Jason. Good punch by Jason. See his head back. Once again, he's doing a good job moving his feet and staying square with the line of scrimmage. And here, Webster does a good job staying square with the line of scrimmage as well, moving the feet and locking out with the arms.
Okay, we work several footwork drills here with our offensive linemen. The important thing to us with the running ropes is we want their hips down and their hands up. Their hands up just like they would be in pass protection. We're not concerned about the speed that they go through the ropes, but we do want the hips down and the hands up.
Here the offensive linemen are hitting every hole as they go through the running ropes. Any footwork drill that develops foot quickness and precision is going to help your pass protection. Our offensive line coach, Guy Morris, does a great job teaching pass protection here at Kentucky. Here you see the hands are up just like they'd be in pass protection and the feet moving in a power type of motion. Here he works sideways like you might be working going right and left along the line of scrimmage. We have a manager here knocking the hands down, working on them, keeping the hands up. Here's a slow motion example. As you can see, he's going through pretty good. Hands up, moving the feet, pointing the toes as they hit in each box of the running ropes. Here we're going sideways the other way. Important to work sideways, both right side and left side, just to simulate as you're protecting and stepping and replacing with your feet along the line of scrimmage. This one we call typewriter because the lineman's going across the ropes kind of like the carriage of a typewriter. These are a little bit lower ropes, which are good as far as simulating the short power steps that an offensive lineman might take. Here he's got the feet in every hole. Pretty good shot of the footwork. Once again, keeping the hands up, and where possible, keep the head back just like it would be in a regular pass protection position. Here's another good footwork drill called the wave drill. We have these two little dummies on the ground, and the manager here, he'll give them a direction, and they react to the direction of the football, stepping and replacing as quick as they can, once again having the hands up in the air. Through this drill, you want the hips down, and as you can see, his hips are down as he moves his feet right to left, stepping and replacing, reacting to the ball, then coming forward when the ball goes down. Hands up, head back, moving his feet. Here's a pretty good example of the upper body as he's moving his feet through the drill, keeping the hands up. Straight back is also pretty good here as well. Another rep of it. The quicker he can react, the quicker he's going to be able to react to a defensive lineman. Here's the spin drill. The spin drill works the feet, but also works the offensive lineman as far as staying square with the line of scrimmage. Another thing the lineman wants to do here is work his eyes. He wants to keep the eyes at the top of the numbers and place his hands there toward the top of the numbers. Here we're working back and forth again, staying square with the line of scrimmage. With the Bertha dummy, we work a drill where we develop the punch of the offensive lineman. The coach will swing the dummy at the lineman as he punches it, pushing the dummy back into the lineman so he can continue to punch it. Once again, important coaching points are a good punch, square with the dummy, head back, hands up, hips down. Here's a good shot of that. The head goes back as he punches the dummy, keeping the hips down. Good power angles in his body as he does it. Here's a slow motion shot. Good impact with the dummy, the hips are down, head back as he punches it. Eyes focused on the dummy. Another drill we do with Bertha is the center quick set.
Okay.
We line the center up close and have him come out of his stance and punch it quickly. Here's another shot in slow motion. This is the softball drill. What the coach is going to roll the ball to the lineman. He wants to step and replace with his feet so that he fields the ball between his feet. It's a good footwork drill, but he also wants to keep his hips down as he is here and field it with a nice straight back, bending at the waist as little as possible. More of a squatting motion with his hips, the back straight, only bending enough to get the ball. Once again, stepping and replacing with the feet, fielding the ball with low hips and a straight back. Good power angles in the body as he does this. A lot of the motions we do with the offensive line are lateral motions, because those are the motions that have to be done on the line of scrimmage when he's facing a defensive lineman, keeping his body between the defensive lineman and the quarterback. We're not as concerned with the offensive lineman becoming a shortstop as we are the good power angles and the movement of the feet. Here's a good close shot. Once again, hips down, moving the feet and keeping the back straight. We work 5 or 6 repetitions, and we want to work the lineman right and left.
Go hit!
Out of the zigzag drill, we work a good pass set, and then the man that's simulating the defensive lineman works all kinds of defensive moves.
Break.
And then the offensive lineman counters the moves, working on giving up ground, but keeping his body between the defensive lineman and the quarterback who would be behind him. The defensive lineman does not want to run past the offensive lineman, because we want the offensive lineman to continue working on countering the moves that the defensive lineman throws at him. Here's a good slow motion shot. The hands are up, the head's back, the hips are down. He shut down the rip arm, the spin, keeping his hands up, good separation, and protecting the quarterback. Another drill is the walk-back drill. Here we want the offensive lineman to get used to sitting down his hips, dropping his hips, locking the cleats in the ground. The man on defense is not going to push the offensive lineman over on his back, but he's going to force him to really use his thighs and his legs, locking the cleats in the ground and doing everything he can to stop his charge. This really works the legs of the offensive lineman. And then the other thing is the defensive lineman will pull the offensive lineman forward to make sure that he's not overextended. If you get overextended, then when he pulls you forward, you'll fall right on your nose. Here we push back, pull forward, forcing the weight to be over the feet, well distributed. Now here's some clips of all the offensive positions putting the passing game together.
This concludes our University of Kentucky passing game drills and techniques training tape. I hope you'll find this material useful in your program. And at this time, I'd like to thank our head coach, Hal Mummy, the rest of the assistant coaches on our staff, and David Combs, and our video department here at the University of Kentucky. Thank you.